here. But listening to you speak, I think you said try to capture in all the complexity, and I think the primary way you do that is through voice. And I'm curious about how that voice, or if that voice shifts from space to space, or if part of it is, you know, putting the voice in the unusual space. Like, how do you navigate that idea of space and voice and capturing in the poem?
That's a very good point. So when I was growing up, what I was struck by is a kind of bilingual English that I lived with. And I'm always interested in the musicality of the language. So when I'd listen to my Trini, my Trini cousins, you know, they kind of go, you know, I really like the lyrics. I like the lyricism of the language, you know, and also I would love the way, you know, my upbringing with my mom was through airmail and telephone, right? Airmail envelopes. So I love the way that when my mother would answer the phone, it would be very much, especially because she was part of the Windrush generation, and she grew up and she worked for a long time in Britain. So she would answer the phone and say, hello, you know, in this really posh kind of English voice. And then as soon as she realized that it's me or somebody, or relative, or a Caribbean person, how she would slip effortlessly into the Caribbean vernacular. And I think I'm really interested in that kind of movement and the English is very clipped, or it's if it's Cockney or working class, it's very musical in its own way. And I'm interested in the shifts of those musicality. So I think I attack sound through voice, through sound, you know. So I remember I was writing a poem called Heathrow Immigration, and it was they turned back a whole plane load of Jamaican people, and I was thinking, well, a whole plane load of Jamaican, like the whole plane couldn't have been problematic. Right. And I thought about, you know, people having to get visas to come and then be turned back after they spent all that money on visa. And so I wanted to do this Jamaican accent. And so I kept listening to my Jamaican friends and just kind of noting the high note and the low note. It's a bass, really. And then using that. Them here say when them have to go back, Charlene did feel like Dark Night. Although, because I'm Eastern Caribbean, Kwame Dawes, who's my mentor, pointed out that she, instead of she in terms of grammar, it's her. Them say her, you know, as opposed to she. We put she in there. So I'm interested in those kind of, in the musicality of language, and poetry enables you to do that.
Absolutely, that's so phenomenal. And even just thinking about the shifts because again, sometimes we use a broad brush, right? Caribbean accent, but within the Caribbean, right? It's only, I feel like the further we go from the Caribbean, the more we're able to understand each other. But, you know, drop up Jamaican and Trinidad, sometimes you're like, what is this person saying? But then again, I feel like you've had the exposure so you can hear the notes in everyone. That's so lovely.
Yeah.